This is an update on a story that is sparking serious outrage on social media. It started when the State Department's Counterterrorism Bureau sent out this tweet that reads, quote, "Muslim scholars condemn Boko Haram kidnappings," referring, of course, to the recent abduction of some 300 girls in Nigeria. The problem, well, that tweet also contained a link which sent you to the website of this man, a prominent Muslim cleric who effectively ordered the killing of U.S. soldiers in Iraq back in 2004. Making matters worse, he is actually no stranger to the White House. He met with some top officials there just last year. Here's a picture. Look. Andy McCarthy is a former federal prosecutor and contributing editor for National Review. Andy, good to see you. So this guy, they got all excited because he's a Muslim scholar who condemned the Boko Haram kidnappings and decided to send out some link to his webpage. Who exactly is this guy?
He is the vice president of this outfit called the International Union of Muslim Scholars, which is run by a guy named Sheikh Yusuf Qaradawi, probably the most prominent Sunni Islamic cleric in the world, really the top jurist of the Muslim Brotherhood, and someone who jointly with Sheikh bin Bayah and these other Muslim scholars, who, by the way, now include one of the top leaders of Hamas, who's come on board.
Recognized as a terrorist group by the United States.
Under U.S. law. But they issued the fatwa in 2003-2004 that called for violent jihad against American military troops and personnel, support personnel in Iraq. They're also very much in favor of the suicide bombing campaign in Israel as well.
Yes, there's a quote from this guy, bin Bayah's boss, effectively talking about how the other side may have bombs, but he has child bombs.
Right.
And those may be so much more effective. So that's the boss of the guy whose article the State Department tweeted out. Now the State Department is saying, we're so sorry. We shouldn't have tweeted that out. It's since been deleted. It was wrong. How does that happen?
No, it was wrong because they got caught. I mean, they're taking their signals from Washington, where they actually issued a visa for this guy and brought him to the White House to consult on things like the future of Egypt, the future of the Middle East, and so on. So if you're, a mid-level State Department person, and you see that the very highest ranks of the administration roll out the red carpet for this guy, what could be so bad about the tweet?
Well, you're not thinking you're going to get your hand slapped when you've seen the guy be invited to the White House, and there's photographic evidence of his visit there.
Right, and you also know that you're right on the same page with what the thinking is there, which is that you can issue fatwas calling for the killing of Americans, you can issue fatwas calling for the killing of American troops, which, by the way, in their ideology, they can't act without the fatwa. It's crucially important.
So this is no small, like, oh, we hate Americans. This is an important piece of the jihad.
Yeah, but if you take out the hashtag, then you're a moderate. They go up in a balloon every time these guys seem to condemn something that, or seem to deviate slightly away from Al-Qaeda ideology. They become, statesmen and moderates and people we can
The reason this guy wound up at the White House and he got the attention of the State Department, in the positive attention initially, is because he has made some comments that sound like he is moderating his views. He was critical of Al-Qaeda prior to that White House visit. Right. He was critical of the kidnapping of these girls. Is there an argument to be made that he is moderating his views? We should listen to him because he can provide us some valuable insight into how these people think.
No, he's not moderating his views enough that it makes any difference if he's issuing fatwas to kill Americans, including, by the way, American support personnel, civilians in Iraq. The problem, Mygen, is they think that the Muslim Brotherhood represents a progressive moderation away from Al-Qaeda ideology. And the problem is where they deviate is somewhat on tactics, but ideologically they're all in the same place.
But what about the rhetoric, the sort of nonviolent rhetoric as of late?
They're smarter. They're for the Muslim Brotherhood, it's not like Al-Qaeda. It's not all violence all the time. There's a whole menu of things, and sometimes it's violence, sometimes it's political activity, media activity, all sorts of things, anything that will move up the field. This implementation of Sharia law, which is what the goal is not only for Al-Qaeda but for the Brotherhood, for this whole movement.
What do you make of the, I asked this of the last panel. We started the show with the incompetence at the VA. I don't know if it's incompetence or malfeasance, but it's at least, as I said, in the law, you hear from judges sometimes, willful blindness. It's there before your very eyes, and you choose to ignore it.
Right.
You can't just chalk that up as negligence. That's a decision you've made despite all the facts right in your face.
The framers would have called it maladministration, which is one of the things they were most concerned about.
So that happens, and now you've heard some vets saying that at least we need an apology. Then you have, obviously this situation. Then you have the outing of the CIA chief.
Right.
We're sorry. They're 6 years into the administration, and they're very sorry.
Yeah, well, we've talked about this before. The framers' idea was there was one person who was supposed to be accountable for all these things that all these various people are sorry for, and that's the president.
Mm-hmm. We'll see if any of this gets addressed more specifically. Andy, good to see you.
Thanks, Megan.